Moving on to our next and our final panel discussion for today. This is on a topic that is crucial to the success of any product in the dynamic landscape of business: measuring product market fit. As we navigate the ever-evolving marketplace, understanding the delicate balance between what we offer and what the market demands becomes paramount. With the next session, our distinguished panelists bring a wealth of experience and insights to shed light on the intricacies of gauging and achieving that elusive yet indispensable concept, product market fit. So let's delve into this discourse and uncover the strategies, challenges, and the best practices that contribute to the successful measurement of product market fit. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome on stage the moderator of this panel discussion, Mr. Arun Manivannan, sales leader.
Thank you.
Yes. May I please invite Mr. Lokesh Kannaiyan, senior product manager, chef software cybersecurity and author. Punit Ahuja, founder and director, Lesson Board. Mitesh Bulsara, founder, Coffee Beans. And Sailesh Giri, senior staff product manager, Sentinel One Cloud Security. Before they begin, let's have a huge round of applause for our panelists, please. Over to you, Mr. Manivannan.
Couldn't have asked for a better panel for this topic, and I think a few of the speakers also spoke about product market fit, which is very critical in getting funding or like growing. I've been part of sales and BD teams for startups, for consulting firms, and I can surely say that if there is good product market fit, everything becomes easier, selling becomes easier, the revenues go up, and all of that. So let me get straight into the action, and I have some questions lined up, but we prefer to take it a little informal as well. So let me start with Mitesh. So what do you think are the major steps involved in achieving PMF, product market fit?
Okay, from my perspective, I would take overall in product development, right? There are 5 stages the way I look at it. We start with visibility, build credibility, come to profitability, go to sustainability, and then scale. So for me, when we talk about product market fit, visibility, how do you market your product well is something which is very, very crucial. The thing is, these days, most of the products which are coming are technical products, tech products and all. I feel, being a techie myself, technology is very easy. That's the 30% of the problem. The 70% of problem is selling it, right? And that's where I think we should focus more. And to achieve that, I would give an example. I had one startup called Motorcycles. We were renting motorcycles in Pune. The way I figured out product market fit was without having a single motorcycle which I was renting. All I did was I had a phone number which I put on Just Dial saying that I am renting motorcycles and just validated how many phone calls I'm getting in throughout the day, right? So I got the calls, they were asking me, oh, I want this particular motorcycle, I want for this many duration. And that's where I figured out, oh, there is a good demand for this particular product. I figured out, okay, Pulsar and Activa would be the motorbikes which I should start with. Eventually the business grew and it got acquired later. But I had 50 motorcycle suite, but the product market fit was achieved even without having one single motorcycle, right? So there are ways to find that out, but this was one of the strategies I applied.
That's nice, that's nice. Anyone else, Punit, do you want to chime in on this?
Yeah, so I think for any early stage startup, Arun, it is imperative to, obviously the first step is to find the right sector in which you want to explore and have an idea and go about exploring that and then launch the first version of your product. But even before we get into something like that, I think what a lot of startups do is they try to identify the problem statement in the market and they dive straight into that. which at times kind of backfires because their own personalities are not aligned with the kind of sector they have deep dived into. So I think the first thing we need to do as startup founders is to identify our own personality and what really aligns with that. For example, I'm into education. Before I got into education, I knew for a fact that, okay, I am a good educator and I can communicate. I like to interact with students. I like to interact with the age group of maybe 14 to 18-year-olds. So that helped me kind of, decide what sector I'm going to enter into. And then I identified the ideal customer profile, my target audience and the product that I am dealing in. So what was the challenge that they were facing? And I launched my first product based on the feedback I got from those students whom I had, a small bunch of students. Based on that, took their feedback, understood what were the challenges that they were facing, understood the market in terms of what the competitors were doing, and how could we improve our product, and went on to reiterate and went on to develop a better product which suited or which was rather designed as per the market needs. So I think for any startup, the first thing is to launch the first version of your product. Before that, understand your personality and choose a product, not just identify the problem, rather identify the problem which you can actually solve with your existing skill set. And then launch the first version, go on to reiterate, take the feedback, reiterate, and then I think that's how you start growing. So I think
that makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Yeah. So currently I'm part of Chef Inspec product line. So this Chef Inspec is the DevSecOps product portfolio. So we used to test this product market fit for each major version whenever we are launching. So currently we have launched 6 major versions. So year on year we launch major version. So whenever we launch a major version, we test this product market fit. Meaning like we categorize into 3 different releases: alpha release, beta release, and then GA release. So in alpha release, there are certain 10 to 15 paying top commercial customers we take into consideration. We test the use case, we seek feedback, we understand their pain points, and then we apply that feedback into beta release. And in beta release, we have like 50 to 60 commercial customers, top 50, 60 commercial customers, and we again we do the same thing. And it will be like a 1 month process for alpha release and 1 month process for beta release, and then finally it go to a GA version. So this is how we do it for commercial products. And one more thing we have for Inspec is Inspec product line is we have a strong open source community base. We have 10,000 users using our product, and we have feedback, blatant feedback then and there in our Slack conversation. So the Slack is our ultimate tool we use to get feedback. So and we have different internal channels within Slack so that we observe the feedback and we apply those feedback into our product. So this is one way we used to
nice.
Inspect.
Quite interesting to note how it's done in bigger firms and organizations. So I mean, chaining along from that, what is the biggest indicator, or how do you say that, hey, I think my product is doing well in the market, right? Because we use a lot of tools, but is it based on gut, or like is it based on metrics, or a combination of both?
So I had one soft metric and one hard metric of how I used to measure. For me, soft metric was how many people or strangers I know in a day who know about my product. So when I was offering something, how many people who are there who I don't know, but they know about my product. Right? That was a soft metric. But when I went, and every time I hear, oh, this person already knows about my company or product, was very fulfilling as an entrepreneur. Second thing which I saw after talking to a lot of investors is, and what we should focus on is MRR, the monthly recurring revenue.
Yeah.
How it is growing. So that is another parameter which we looked at. It should grow monthly. No matter what, your product should keep growing month-on-month basis. And that's a good indicator that you have a good product market fit. And other parameter which, so I focus only on 2 parameters. One is MRR growth, and second is my LTV to CAC ratio. What is the lifetime value of the customer versus cost of acquiring that customer? So what is that ratio? Typically, I think it has to be 3:1. So these are the metric. If we are able to achieve, I would say that we have good product market fit.
And just to expand to
sure, Sailesh,
point, right? I mean,
there are definitely, I mean, metrics like these, I mean, which you can actually clearly track, right? There are many different qualitative aspects as well, right? So it's not only about, hey, I mean, I'm tracking my MRR, I'm looking at my customer lifetime value and then stuff, right? I mean, we also need to constantly go and talk to customers to get their active feedback, right? If there are, because the market is changing dynamic, I mean, it's constantly changing, the needs are changing. So the market is also shifting, so products should shift accordingly, right? So it's not like we are achieving a market fit today and 6 months down the line it remains the same, right? It's not going to happen. So we have to, again, I mean, constantly get feedback from customers and try to tweak the product to ensure we are also, I mean, moving along with the market. So yeah.
Sure. Punit, you wanted to?
Yeah, I was actually just about to say what Sailesh said, that it's important to track the feedback of your clients and your customers, because ultimately they are the ones who are consuming your product or service. So if they, so we need to understand whether they are just consuming and using your product or service, or are they also spreading the right word out there in their communities about your product or service. So if the latter is there, that means for sure, your product market fit is in the right place, because if they have paid for a service or product, they will definitely come back and they will definitely consume your product or service. But then how much are you able to retain them? And from them, how much are you able to get more business is again is a major indicator, or rather a key indicator of your product market fit.
Interesting. Yeah, Lokesh.
And one more framework we used to follow in Chef. So there is a framework called 40 rule or 40 points framework where you send a survey to all the customers, and in the survey they will ask a question like, if you don't have this product, will you be disappointed? Will you be frustrated, or it doesn't matter to you? So then in that, if there are like 40% of the customers say, I am really frustrated or I am really disappointed if this product line doesn't exist, then that is the exact acid test or exact fruit of the product market fit thing. So this is one of the key framework we used to follow in Chef.
Interesting. So how often do you validate this? As, I mean, Sailesh and Punit, you put it in a very interesting manner that this keeps changing and the product also keeps shifting with customer needs. So how often do you validate the PMF, right?
Am I taking my question?
Yeah, you can.
All right. So in our sector, in the education space, it's a very, very dynamic space. We have to do this. We have to undertake this process every quarter, if not every month, I would say. And this is something which is a part of the entire process. This is what decides what we are going to do next. So it's definitely a continuous process. It cannot be a one-time activity. It has to be something which needs to be done time and again, over and over again, for those reiterations, like I mentioned earlier, to happen, and for your improvements to take place.
Nice. Sailesh, you wanted to add something on that?
Go ahead after that.
Yeah.
So, so we used to test, as I mentioned, like with alpha release, beta release, and G release, we used to test product market fit like on a periodic basis. And then there is also like 6-month survey we used to share it with customers. We use different survey tools to share with a list of questions and ask, hey, are you satisfied with so and so use case? Do you want, are you venturing to different product line? Are you using different competitor product? All these sort of things we share it in survey, and we used to collect that survey reports. Basically the underlying intention for product team is to test the product market fit, but whereas we pitch to customers saying like we are going to publish one report, market report, so that's how it will get into final thing. So there are a lot of underlying things we intertwined into those questions. So yeah, there is one more aspect we have to see. You asked like how often we have to test it. There are cases like when to test it. So if your product manager wanted to change a business model, you have to test this one. If you wanted to change the pricing model, if you want to change the target group, so you have to test the product market fit. One case or one success study which I have observed is like Michelin. So Michelin tires, they used to price the product based on number of units, saying like number of tires sold, number of those sort of things. That's how they calculate the revenue. But one time Michelin CEO changed it into subscription model. meaning like how long or how much the distance it covers, no, the tire. So that much amount of revenue it will come. So from number of unit based model to subscription based model with Michelin, they break the revenue, or they surpassed the other competitors by 2x, 3x. So this is one of the key business model change, and to do that we have to do the product market fit. And yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, yeah,
So, so similar thoughts, right? I mean, it's a continuous process. I mean, we all have been saying the same thing. Just that, I mean, is it a single activity, or it's a set of activities that we do to ensure, I mean, we are fitting that market, right? Or my product is serving that need, right? So typically, I mean, as a product manager, I mean, what we have been doing is we have been tracking multiple things, right? I mean, we float these surveys to customers, and we get a sense that, hey, I mean, things are working fine. I mean, the product is doing good. They are satisfied. And then you have, so this is typically a long-term effort. By long-term, I mean, we float this once a year, once 6 months, right? Then there are short-term activities where, I mean, we constantly go and talk to customers, try to get a sense of, I mean, how their preferences are changing, right? And so on. So again, it's a mix. It's a continuous process, but it's a mix of both. I mean, short-term efforts and long-term activities that you do.
Got it. So on this journey, what are the most common mistakes or pitfalls to avoid, right? That's something that I think all of you guys can pitch on.
From my experience, falling in love with your product.
Okay.
People who
Too obsessed with your product.
they get extremely obsessed. So ultimately, it's all about business. For me, yeah, you're building a product. You may be serving your passion. You may be doing something for purpose. But if it's just passion, I think it's a hobby. If it's just purpose, then you're doing charity. I think a business has to be profitable, and one of the biggest pitfalls which people fall into is falling in love with it. And they are not able to pivot or not able to see. I will give you an example. I had a carpooling startup called Hitchkey. I was running it in Pune. I was frustrated by the traffic every day. We all are still in Bangalore. You would see 80 to 90% of cars are only having single driver, right? They can easily carpool. We all are educated, we all are intelligent, we don't do it. We don't do it. And I was like, no, this is a solution. I am going to solve the traffic problem in the world and traffic problem in India. Definitely product market fit, but nobody is taking the solution, right? And ultimately, I was like, okay, let me exit out of this. You won't believe who bought that product. That product was acquired by a company from Mexico. They had a parking problem in their company. They're like, we don't have enough parking spots, and that's why we want our employees to start using carpooling, and we're pushing this solution to them. They are using it because they won't get parking spots. So the whole idea here is you should be ready and willing to pivot. It's business at the end of the day. And the pitfall of, no, I just keep going to try my same idea over and over again without having product market fit, I think that's the biggest pitfall.
Yeah.
Sure.
So 2 or 3 things from my side on this, right? I mean, to start with the basics, right? I mean, don't just build a product because you like that idea, right? I mean, it has to be tested, it has to be validated, it is actually solving a need, right? But that should be the trigger of building something, right? The other thing is, we often fake product market fit, right? We choose wrong set of metrics.
Yes.
Right, I mean, and often, I mean, we rely on these vanity metrics like number of downloads or the number of what's the traffic on my website, right? If I'm a food delivery guy or a food delivery company, and I'm giving welcome back coupon every other day, I'm going to see traffic, but that is not the right metric to track, right? That's not giving me a product market fit. That is not giving me a sense of that, right? So that's the other thing. The other point is, we have also seen we rely too much on early adopters, right? And that probably is not the best metric. I'm saying not the best metric. It could be a good metric, but not the best metric. There's a very good quote from Mark Anderson, one of the famous entrepreneurs. Right? He says that if you rely on early adopters, you are going to get 5% of the market, right? You're losing the remaining 95%. Somebody else is going to get that 95%. So don't just validate your product against early adopters. Try to diversify to different customer bases, to different stages, and then try to iterate over that and try to make your product better, right? One final thing is, as a PM, I mean, and I've also struggled a lot with this, is when I'm building something new, right? I try to put so many things into that product. Right? I try to squeeze, too many features into that, thinking that, hey, this will make customers' experience better. But we have limited resources. We have limited bandwidth, and customers may not have enough time to actually, try out everything. So just focus on, and there's a term for that's called, featureitis, right? Trying to cram too much into the product. So let's avoid doing that as well. That could be my suggestion here. Let's just try to focus on that MVP that is solving that core problem that you're trying to address for the customer. So that's
20% of the features bring 80% of the revenue.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So I have 3 cases of pitfalls. So I will call it as feature shocks, minivations, and undead products. So feature shocks is like the products where it has too many features, where Sailesh and Mitesh they were talking about, engineers, they fell love into the features and they don't concern about the users. The typical case study is Amazon Fire Phone. So they have strong supply chain products, they have strong AWS product portfolio, but they couldn't do well in Amazon Fire Phone category. So this is one typical mistake. So this comes under feature shocks. And second product line is product pitfall is like minivations. So what do I mean by minivation is like you build a product and you see like you price it wrongly, meaning like you price it with a low base point, or you give so much of discount, saying like you have done like $100 million deal or 100 million revenue. The typical use case is Asus. That laptop was the actual price point should be around $250, but they have priced it so low, like $150, and they shoot up on their own toes. So that is second pitfall is minivations, and third is undead or who cares product, meaning like Google Glass or
they have many such examples.
Yeah. They don't care about the use case of they don't care about the customer empathy. So they just launch a product and it's gone. So another example is Xeon player, and another example is Dell has launched MP3 player in competition with iPod. They are called as Me Too products. Just because they want to launch a product, they launch a product, and without that, and there are a lot of failures with undead cases. So there are 3 cases.
Nice. Very, very interesting perspectives. I think, are we, yeah? Okay, perfect. So I just want you guys to give me 2 examples or like 2 brands which you think have great product market fit. It could be B2B, B2C, an FMCG company, or anything that you've used or you feel have like great product market fit.
Okay. So we just spoke about common pitfalls, right? Now, while Mitesh did mention that we should not fall in love with our product, we also should believe in our product. Right? It's important to believe in our product. So I'll just give you a small example of Dettol versus Savlon, since you asked for these 2 examples, since you asked for 2 companies. Now, when Dettol was in the market with their antiseptic liquid, they were on top, right? There was no other company who was competing against Dettol in the antiseptic liquid market. But the only problem that was there with that antiseptic liquid was kids were averse to using it because it used to burn when applied on the wounds, right? So Savlon identified this little thing in the Dettol antiseptic liquid, and they said, okay, now when we want to launch a product, we will come up with a product which will not burn, and that is how we're going to capture our market. And that is exactly what they did. They came into the market with a product, an antiseptic liquid, which would not burn. And they captured a good chunk of the market. When Dettol realized that, okay, this has happened, our market share has started moving or drifting towards Savlon, they said, let us do something different here. They had 2 options. They could have either changed the composition of the product, made it something like Savlon which would not burn or do something differently. So they did not change the product. We at times, we just are very quick at doing something which a competitor is doing. So Dettol just changed its marketing campaign by saying, "Jo jalta hai, wo chalta hai." Right? And that exactly resonated with a lot of families and mothers and fathers who said, "Haan, ye to jalta nahi hai, to ye chalta nahi hai," types. So they again recaptured their market, which I think was a master stroke by Dettol. So
Nice.
something on those
Nice
lines.
example.
Yeah.
Any of you guys want to chime in on this? Or like,
So, I have one case, Spotify. So how Spotify broke the product market fit is like they were trying to mimic or copy Napster. They were hosting the songs in platform, and Napster was put down because of copyright infringement. And what Spotify did, the innovation is like they started charging fees from the users, and they shared that revenue or this thing to the music producers. That's how they found that product market fit, and that's how they found it successful. One is Spotify, and second is our own Inspec product line. Sorry if I'm selling my product line. So Inspec is the base engine which we started as a compliance audit tool. As a compliance automation tool. It's primarily targeted for security DevSecOps people. During the product market fit, we found there is another use case for desktop compliance related product. So earlier we were competing with Ansible and SaltStack, VMware SaltStack, and now with desktop compliance automation, we started competing with JAMF, Intune, Microsoft Intune products. And then third product market fit is cloud security posture management product, which we got in. And now we are competing with Zscaler and other cloud security product portfolios. So that's another.
Cool. I think you guys have anything? Yeah,
I was not able to think of
interest
two,
of time.
but I was able to think of one product which I think is phenomenal product market fit, to a point that we don't even think of it as a product right now, is UPI.
Okay.
UPI has integrated so much in our lifestyle that we're not even thinking, and it's a phenomenal product market fit to the point that even a Pani Puri wala these days is able to use it very seamlessly, right? So I think that would be
Nice.
one of my favorite product, which is phenomenal product market fit.
Nice. Sailesh, anything on your end?
So one example comes to mind is Zoom. So we all know the history, right? I mean, Skype was at one point the market leader, and how the entire market shifted to Zoom. Why? Because they solved that problem of friction, right? I mean, when you use Skype, you have those frictions. I mean, it's not very easy to onboard. There are upgrade issues and so on, right? So Zoom completely took away that pain from customers. It's very easy to onboard, very easy to upgrade, very easy to use. So I think that definitely, I mean, helped Zoom capture the entire market, and COVID also helped. So yeah, I mean, that probably is a good example.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thanks for listening patiently as well. Any questions if we have time? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, perfect. Sorry for overshooting, but this topic deserved it, I guess. Thank you.